You're listening to the Empire Network.
How's it going, guys? It's me, Jake, from Star Wars Wastelands and the Empire Network. I'm just putting this little message on the front of this week's episode of Wastelands just to kind of give you an apology for our slow schedule. We told you we'd have videos up by certain times, certain days, and all of us, we live in different parts of the United States, and we've all got our own busy schedules and stuff. So we apologize. That's not how we like to do things. And I will fully admit that a lot of it is my fault because I'm not staying on top of things than I should be. So, on behalf of myself and the rest of the Empire Network, we just apologize and we'll try and get things back up and running for you. So, enjoy this week's episode of Wastelands. It's finally up. It's a shorter episode, but just enjoy it, and we will be back hopefully on our normal schedule very soon here. So, enjoy, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Star Wars Wastelands, broadcasting to you from the Empire Network. This is take 2. We were live on 11:38 last night, and let's just say it was the biggest piece of dog crap we put out there since, well, your dog probably last took a crap. So we weren't going to release that to the public. Everything from technical issues to delays to a little project that we're doing just did not air properly. So we have had Thomas, the head promoter, or right, the president of promotion of the Empire Network, come to our rescue tonight to host this take 2 of Star Wars Wastelands this week. So right off the bat, Thomas, thanks for joining us, man, and how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Always great to be back on Wastelands.
Everybody wants to be on Wastelands, except for last night, in which case probably good nobody else was on the Wastelands. Mondo, what are you eating tonight? And if you say McMahon, that will explain why he's not here.
No, I ate him earlier. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I ordered from Domino's. I got a pasta bread bowl. I actually just got here, like about maybe 10 minutes ago. So.
Boo!
Oh.
Mom and pop shops are always better.
Domino's doesn't have stuff like that up here at all. They have like the easy garlic bread, pizza, chicken wings. I think they have French fries, and that's it. They don't have pasta stuff here whatsoever.
Oh yeah, like I hear they got this menu. Not to get too off topic, but they got this menu. You can order pretty much 2 things off of it for $5.99 each. So I got a sandwich. It's like a baked sandwich, like Italian style, with different meats and toppings and sauces and stuff on it, and the pasta. And it was like $15 or something like that. Not too bad.
Nice. Well, I'm eating a microwave bowl of beef stew right now, so actually doesn't taste that bad.
That is going to give you diarrhea tomorrow.
That's too much information. Anyways, we are already into the first order of business. And why don't we start off with The Force Awakens is not performing very well in China. I mean, it's doing okay. It's still the number 1 movie there, but it doesn't look like it's going to come anywhere close to their projected, 300 million plus. Right now, it's looking more like 120 to 150 area. Does this surprise either of you guys, considering the heavy amount of promotion that Disney did over there? Keep in mind, this is the first ever Star Wars movie to release in China.
I went in with a lot of hopes, but I don't think we really knew what to expect. Now, did we?
Clearly not, because I didn't expect numbers this low. Mondo?
No, I expected it to have almost the Avatar effect over there, where, all the hype from around the world, all the reviews, everybody raving about it. I thought that was going to drive people to go see it just so they can say, I saw it.
Yeah, I thought so too. I can't claim to know a lot about the culture over there, other than they're led by someone less than favorable.
They've got good buffets. I know that much.
And that my favorite album in history of the planet, Chinese Democracy, is banned over there. So that's about all I know. That's all I know about China.
But all I know is they got this dish over there called crab rangoon that is amazing.
See, it seems like Chinese restaurants up here have more North American food than actual Chinese food, at least in Canada.
Here it's a mix.
It's Chinese chicken wings.
Oh yeah, we've got those too, and it cracks me up every time because you know damn well that's not chicken.
All right, let's steer the ship back on topic here, though. Is it safe to say that perhaps next time around Disney probably won't spend as much money marketing, and they'll take their 150 to 200 million in China and leave and be happy of probably being a top 10 film there of all time?
I don't know. I kind of feel like Disney being the world mega powerhouse that they are, they may just try even harder next time to try to make it do better.
Well, interestingly enough, there are a couple of Asians rumored to be casted in episode 8. One of them in a romantic role with Finn. So we'll see if that comes to play. That might provide.
No, Finn and Ray need to have little Finn Ray babies.
It's not happening, Junior. Sorry, not gonna happen. She kissed her head. He's friend zone. He's screwed. He got put in the friend zone. Friend zone.
Okay.
So let's go on to the other news, which isn't actually Star Wars news, but just dropped. And we wouldn't have had this news for you yesterday if we were using yesterday's recording of the show. And that is 24 hours after The Force Awakens Episode 8 announces that it is backing up its release to December of 2017, Avatar is now moving out of 2017, claiming the movie wouldn't be ready in time. I am calling bullshit on that. Massive bullshit, because the timing is just a little bit too convenient for, I don't know, anybody with half a brain. Does this surprise either one of you? And is it quite comical to either one of you?
Oh, it's flipping hilarious.
Very little surprises me anymore. What can you really expect?
And no, it's absolutely not surprising in the least. It's quite frankly, I expected it.
Do you remember when Eric Bischoff in WCW Mondo had a match against Vince McMahon? Clearly, Vince McMahon wouldn't show. I mean, it's WCW. They were different companies at that time. And gave himself the win by counting Vince McMahon out because he didn't show. This is what this feels like. It's like The Force Awakens just showed up and just decided. And, sorry, why do I keep saying The Force Awakens? Bad habit. Star Wars Episode 8 shows up. And then Avatar decides, yeah, we ain't showing. F that. Count us out. It's almost like one of those champions that's coming into a title match who just says, you know what, I can't lose my title if I don't show up. Or I'm walking out of the arena.
Well, it makes sense, and I'll say it makes sense because I think part of Avatar's ungodly success a couple years ago was
8 to be exact.
Oh wow, man, time flies when you're poor. It's because if I remember correctly, it wasn't up against a whole lot when it entered theaters, and then it had the gimmick effect. And I think they saw that and they were like, well shit. What are we to do now?
It was funny because last night I had made the comment, well, even though I'm pissed to hell that the movie was backed up, that, at least Episode 8's going to come in there and Star Wars is just going to deliver the knockout punch to Avatar. Well, damn it, they delivered the knockout punch 23 months early. 23 months. Oh God, I can't get over that. Let's move on before I start crying.
Please don't cry. Nobody wants to hear that.
Hey, look at the bright side. We still have Rogue One to look forward to.
Yes, and an amazing second half of the season, The Rebels, and then Rebels Season 3, which has been picked up as well. So,
Did anybody have any doubt that Rebels Season 3 would be picked up?
I did not. However, I was always under the impression Rebels would only be 3 seasons done and they move on to something else. Sounds like that's not the case anymore.
Oh, heck no, mate. Okay. I love.
Well, they have a limited window, right, in terms of stories, and it's canon what they're doing. And right now, I think they're 4 years out, 3.5 years out from The Force Awakens, or pardon me, A New Hope.
Well, but the thing is, though, they can slow the story, like the storytelling, considerably down.
Oh, for sure. You could have a group of them stranded on a planet for an entire season, and that takes place over 2 months.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could do, so much to milk it. And that's what they're doing right now. They're going to milk Rebels.
So let's move on to the next topic. The Empire Network and Star Wars Wastelands are co-presenting, as the Star Wars Underworld's chipping in and giving it a hand as well, the Force Bowl. We were going to take 32 of the best Force users and put them in this sort of NFL / March Madness type bracket, and fans would get to vote on each matchup to see who moves on to the next round all the way till you get to 1. Well, as we were putting together 32 names, it became clear that, well, too many names would be left off the list because we wanted to do not just canon, but Legends characters as well. So we just decided to go the March Madness route and do 64 Force users. Now, last night when we tried to pre-record this, it was a disaster as we were doing the matchup draft live, and it was just painful. So I'm going to read to you each matchup. Now, these aren't necessarily accurate in terms of what ladder they're in, but each matchup. If any matchup sort of catches your guys' eyes, like, oh, wow, that's a huge matchup in terms of round 1, someone who should be like, say, you'd think would be a Final 8 or Final 16 person, is guaranteed to be eliminated because there's 2 of them in one matchup in round 1, give me a shout, jump in. But here we go. You have Luke versus General Ram Koda from The Force Unleashed. You have Anakin / Darth Vader versus Darth Treya / Kreia from Knights of the Old Republic 2. You have Barriss Offee versus Plo Koon. Asajj Ventress versus Visas Marr from Knights of the Old Republic 2. You have the Fifth Brother versus Darth Maul. You have Mara Jade versus Bastila Shan. That, for me, is a heavyweight matchup right off the bat, because it's probably the 2 most famous females out of the EU. Thomas, I believe you've played Knights of the Old Republic.
Absolutely.
What do you think of this matchup? I mean, Mara Jade, Bastila Shan. Someone's going home early when they probably would have been in at least the top half of the ladder.
I'm partial to Bastila. However, I am very much open to, well, we're not going to see it now, but if there was a Mara, some way to see her in action. I mean, we saw, what was it, Dark Forces, Jedi Knight or whatever. We had that, but that was about it.
She's a heavy star, though, in the EU novel series, all the way from the Thrawn trilogy, all the way through even Fate of the Jedi after she had died at the hands of Jason Solo, her nephew. She comes back as a Force ghost in Fate of the Jedi. So,
yeah, but I think it goes without saying that we love to see our favorite characters on screen, whether it's the small screen or the big screen, in some kind of action.
Totally agree. But here's what I think in terms of Mara Jade. I think she's still feasible, because I think the fan hatred to not using Mara Jade as Luke's wife, if they went that way, would be through the roof. And before anyone says, well, they changed Korriban's name, yeah, they did. But if you notice, they didn't change Darth Bane's name. Darth Bane's important because he created the rule of 2. Darth Bane's canon. He was in Clone Wars. Maybe the same thing will happen with Mara. They'll just decide to say, you know what, she's far too important of a character to just rename. One can hope, anyway. Someone big's going home early in that one. Moving on, though, we have Ahsoka versus Vistara Kai, aka Ben Skywalker's love interest from Fate of the Jedi. You have Cade Skywalker from the Legacy comics against Ezra. That's a neat little matchup. Here, to me, is one of 3 massive heavyweight matchups. Bastila versus Mara was the first one. This is the second one right here. In round 1, you have Yoda versus Qui-Gon. Are you guys torn at all when it comes to voting? I mean, I know Qui-Gon was only in episode 1, but a lot of people love Qui-Gon and Liam Neeson. Do you guys have to put some consideration into this one?
Not really. I
don't feel as attached to the Stars character as I do Ahsoka. I did enjoy her character in the Fate of the Jedi novels that I did read, but I just don't feel that attachment.
Wait, who were you referring to there?
We were still talking about the Star and.
No, we're talking about Qui-Gon versus Yoda.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah, Qui-Gon versus Yoda, round 1 matchup. The way it was drew,
Yoda
completely random draw.
I enjoyed that.
I don't know who I'm going to vote for when that one comes up. Love Yoda to death, but I also love Qui-Gon. Anywho, though, moving on, we have Count Dooku versus Kip Durin. You might remember Kip making his debut in the Jedi Academy series of novels from Legends. A lot of stuff out of there was sort of inspired by... A lot of stuff of The Force Awakens was inspired by that set of novels. You have Kanan versus Darth Sion from Knights of the Old Republic 2. You have Revan / Darth Revan versus Atris in a Knights of the Old Republic showdown. You have Kylo Ren versus Jariah Sabayoth. I thought Sabayoth was a kooky old Jedi, but I mean, I think he's going to get the floor mopped with him against Kylo Ren. You have Jedi Master Sifo Dyas against Maz Kanata. Atten Rand against Shaq T. The Grand Inquisitor versus Starkiller is another interesting one. I really liked the Grand Inquisitor in Rebel Season 1, but I have a total man crush with all things Sam Witwer, so I'm gonna be personally voting for Starkiller on this one. Starkiller made the Force Unleashed games.
See, to me, that's actually a very interesting matchup. And you and I talked about the other day how, there's some funny arguments going on about where the name Starkiller base came from. And so Starkiller from the Force,
we should also state real name Galen Merrick.
Yes. So I think it's going to be interesting. I think the Grand Inquisitor may be a little more fresh on some people's minds because of timing. But I almost want to say that I think Starkiller may have reached more people through popularity because of what it was. So
I'm hoping so. I'm going to be really disappointed if Starkiller's out in round 1. At the same time, if he loses to the Grand Inquisitor, who I was sad to see die in Rebel Season 1, I probably should have said spoiler on that one because I don't think Mondo's seen Rebel Season 1, but I'm assuming he's put it together because he hasn't been. Actually, no, you would know this. You've seen Siege of Lothal.
Yeah.
My apologies.
What's funny about it, though, is I've actually got a Rebels blanket with the Grand Inquisitor on it that I got after he had died, and I got it for Christmas from Alicia last year.
Here's
and
another...
Now that I think...
Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, now that I think about it, she probably got it on clearance.
Here's another fun one, is what I classify, and many people classify from the drawing last night, is probably the biggest mismatch in round 1, and the one that's just... I'm not sure if anybody's even going to vote for the other person in this battle. And if they do, it's probably just for the sake of voting for them. But we have Ki-Adi-Mundi versus Rey from The Force Awakens. Master Mundi's going to suffer a worse death than he got in Revenge of the Sith. You might have better odds at winning the Powerball than Mundi.
He's a jerk.
He is a jerk. I just finished rewatching Clone Wars Season 6. total dick towards Yoda at the end. I just thought to myself, you prick, you got what you deserved. You were one of those stuck-up Jedi that you couldn't get out of your old ways. Moving on, though, we have Savage Opress versus Darth Malak. That's an interesting one. I don't know who's going to win. Savage might be more fresh in people's minds, but we know there's a lot of Knights of the Old Republic fans that follow us, so Malak may win. You have Emperor Vulcarian from Knights of the Fallen Empire in the Old Republic against Darth Bandon, Malak's apprentice in Knights of the Old Republic. You have Darth Nihilus from Knights of the Old Republic 2, person with the cool costume who pretty much has little to no role in the game. Very Captain Phasma-ish. And he is taking on Jaina Solo. Don't like the odds for him in that fight. Jaina Solo, Sword of the Jedi. And then you have Ben Skywalker versus Jolee Bindo from Knights of the Old Republic. You have General Grievous, who, while he isn't a Force user, we figured the ability to kill as many Jedi as he did and to use 4 lightsabers at once allows him to enter this fight. Then you have, Grievous' version Thexan, the super duper powerful female female Force user of the Infinite Empire in Knights of the Fallen Empire. You have the Seventh Sister versus Kyle Katarn. This would be the last of the heavyweight matchups in round 1, and I'm devastated. Devastated that one of these guys are going out in round 1. You have my favorite of all time going up against one of my favorite Sith of all time, Obi-Wan Kenobi, against the Emperor Palpatine, Darth Sidious. Round 1 matchup. Yeah, what do you guys think about that one?
I'm gonna have to, when it comes down to it, I might have to go son of a bitch.
I mean, I'm voting for Obi-Wan, obviously, but I hate it that I don't get to vote for Sidious against somebody else. I hate it that one of these guys are going out in round 1, but that's the fun of a random draw.
My lord, that's... What if they tie?
Yeah, the draw that was done for these matchups was done last night on air. Turned out brutal and terrible entertainment. Much better this time around where we already have the draw done. But it was all done at random, yes. So, I mean, what if they tie is an interesting one? Because if they tie, I'm thinking you move both competitors ahead and you have a 3-way matchup in the next round. A lightsaber triple threat fight in live action would be interesting.
Oh, man.
We'll get to the tag team duel later. Then you have Mace Windu versus Darth Malagus. Kit Fisto versus Darth Bane. This is an interesting one. Satele Shan versus Exar Kun.
Exar Kun.
I'm going with Exar Kun as well.
I don't think Kit Fisto has any chance against Darth Bane.
No, but I mean, this isn't based on strength. It's more based on popularity. Yeah, but
popularity.
in a fight, Bane would obliterate him probably without lifting a finger. So yeah, we have Satele Shan versus Exar Kun. We have Jason Solo / Darth Kaitis going up against Jaden Korr, your playable character in the Jedi Academy game. Fantastic game. He also appears. He actually has his own novel and had a couple of comics, and he has a few cameos throughout Legacy of the Force and Fate of the Jedi. We have Darth Plagueis versus Quinlan Vos, Juhani, aka Catface from Knights of the Old Republic, going up against the exile Mitra Surik, your playable character from Knights of the Old Republic 2. You have Anakin Solo versus Arkin from Knights of the Fallen Empire. And lastly, you have a mother versus daughter-in-law battle, Leia Organa Solo versus Tahiri Vela.
I think Leia might win that just because of
popularity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Out of all those matchups, I mean, we named the 3 sort of heavyweight matchups. You have Bastila versus Mara Jade. You have Yoda versus Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan versus Sidious. What of those do you think are going to be the closest in voting?
I I have absolutely no idea.
I'm gonna go. I think one of the closest one's probably gonna be Palpatine and Obi-Wan.
I think so too. I'm hoping Obi-Wan fans come out in numbers. I might have to create a bunch of fake Facebook accounts.
I'm hoping they tie. I'm actually kind of hoping they tie to see both of them continue on.
I feel sorry for the other person in the next round. Okay, so there you have it. The Force Bowl. It's live now. Day one voting. It's actually a shortened day one. Is live now for Division 1. And day 2 for Division 1 will be tomorrow. And then on Saturday, we will unveil Division 2. There's 4 different divisions. And obviously, each division winner will end up meeting up, going up against one another in the Final Four, much like the NCAA. So it'll be interesting to see who the Final Four are. Predictions right here on the show, guys. Without knowing actually, no, we don't know the division ladders. We'll wait and do it next week's show once all the ladders are out. Now it's time for the HoloNet. The HoloNet is a segment on the show where we bring you all the news all across the Star Wars universe. Big news, obviously, this week. Episode 8 has been backed up. Your guys' thoughts and feelings. What was your reaction? Were you guys bummed? How'd you take the news?
It sucked. I'll be the first to admit that it sucked quite a bit. I did read today, though, that there are quite a few reports that are coming out that this was more of a production thing more than it was a, hey, let's try to get a whole bunch of money again thing, which last night, a lot of us had kind of mentioned that we thought might have been what it was. Knowing that it's to rewrite some of the script and to further propel a couple characters from episode 7 that maybe got a little more positive fan reaction than anticipated, I'm a little more okay with it. It still sucks, but I'm a little more at ease knowing that it very likely will give us a slightly better product, than if it not had happened again. I'm not thrilled about it by any means, but making the best of it, I guess.
Makes sense. How about you, Thomas? What were your initial reactions to the 7-month delay?
I really don't have much to say. It is what it is. Star Wars is one movie I'm willing to wait a little while longer for without throwing a hissy fit, because they're going to do what they think is best, even if it is for financial reasons, which are always a good thing. So we'll get it when we get it. That's just about what it comes down to.
Well, you definitely took the nicer approach than I did.
We have lost Mondo, I do believe.
Have we lost Mondo?
We have him back, I think.
Oh, I think Mondo is back. Mondo, are you with us? I'll let you work on that since you're the one with the Skype here. I don't know if you'll be able to rejoin us. Hopefully he will be. I'll take a different approach. This is bullshit. I can't believe it. 7 months? Oh, man, 1.5 years felt long enough. And this is coming from a guy, though. You got to remember, I knew when episode 1 was announced in production. I was a young boy, but I'd already seen the original trilogy. I was already Star Wars obsessed. And the idea, at that point, I had about a 2-year wait for episode 1 to come out. And then 3 years in between each. So, it was brutal. So the idea of adding more weight to it sucks. But, I guess it's a little easier knowing we got Rogue One this year. And it's a little easier this time around because we actually have a Star Wars TV show as well. I'd like to see more novels start coming back out, and I'd like to see maybe a trilogy of novels. You have Aftermath, but something else, something not directly in with the current timeline. But yeah, I'm sure it'll be the best decision. And as a guy that was arguing with us last night kept saying, this is a good thing, and it has to be a good thing. We're all entitled to different opinions. A bunch of people I've heard, bunch of smart Star Wars people I've heard say it's a good thing. I'm sure it is, but doesn't mean I have to like it, so I don't. Let's move on. Have we had any more chances to get Mondo in here or no?
I'm trying to reach him. Ain't hearing back from him. He tried to connect his webcam, but I think that may have been an error on his part.
It might have been.
So we'll see what happens.
Yep, Mondo might be back with us. He might not be. Or maybe McMahon has showed up at Mondo's house and eaten him.
Oh, my.
All possible. All very possible. Let's move on to an episode 8 rumor that came out this week. Actually, it came out yesterday. Terribly translated. McMahon failed massively on trying to read this terrible translation in his defense. A lot of people would. But essentially, the rumor was from Cosmic Book News, and they had said that from people who have gotten a chance to look at concept art from episode 8, and yes, it would be there. All the concept art, in fact, would be done with them going into production next month. Claims that the final lightsaber battle in episode 8 will take place on Skellig Michael, and it will be it'll be in the rain apparently too, which I find interesting. Mondo is back with us.
I've been here the whole damn time. I don't know what the hell's going on with Skype, but man, these freaking technical issues.
You mad, bro? You mad?
It's
I am mad.
It's a Microslav issue. Let's stay on topic though, because we are tight on time. We have the wonderful tag team matchup is apparently the rumored lightsaber battle at the end of episode 8, and I should also stress that we've never seen a tag team lightsaber duel before in the live action films. We have in the Clone Wars, which turned out pretty good, unless you were the girl that got murdered by Darth Maul, then it didn't turn out too good for you. But it would be Kylo Ren and whoever Benicio del Toro is playing. Maybe Ezra? Possibly? I mean, they're around that age. More than likely, though, just a fellow Knight of Ren. Going up against Luke Skywalker and Rey, his daughter. At least in my opinion. So that's an interesting. I'd be totally cool with it. I mean, that'd be new to the live action, seeing a tag team lightsaber duel. So continuing with the lightsaber innovation in terms of the way they do the battles would be a ballsy move, but the right move, because it's the way they've always done it, is to do something new. So we'll see what comes of that. What are your guys' thoughts on a tag team lightsaber duel?
I think it's cool, something different. I mean, that's... we were talking a little bit before the show. I mean, I want to see more originality in things, and I think that's really awesome, and that's right down the lines that I'm really glad that I hope that they continue to take.
I'm having difficulty plotting out in my head how this would play out, but I guess that's a good thing about it just being a rumor.
I mean, to me, you'd probably have Kylo against Rey again, right? And then whoever Benicio del Toro is against Luke. And the battles are probably taking place separately, and then towards the conclusion, both battles near one another. And you might have Luke dive in for a save on Rey, or vice versa. I'll tell you what, though. A lot of people have speculated Luke might die in Episode 8. A tag team battle would certainly pave the way for... I mean, I don't want it to happen. I'm saying it right now. We lost Han, not Luke. Please, for the love of God, not Luke. We know Hamill will do it. But a tag team lightsaber battle would pave the way for, if Rey got in trouble in the battle, for Luke to sacrifice himself in order for her to flee. Just saying.
Yeah, and I don't know. I do think if Luke dies, I don't think it'll be till episode 9.
I hope you're right.
I do almost think at some point it does happen.
I hope not. I think Mark Hamill is still young enough in his early 60s that if they ended up doing episode 10, 8 or 9 years down the road at 70, he could play a much older Grandmaster Luke Skywalker with an even lesser role. Almost like a Yoda role from Empire. But we'll move on from this.
I'd actually like to see Luke at the end of episode 9 just fade away. Not like become one with the Force, just fade away. But
You mean like leave the Jedi in the hands of whatever order
like
he's
what
established?
Revan did. I mean, Revan went to go fight a unknown evil, we later learned, but
Yeah, Revan's fade away didn't turn out too successfully for him.
yeah, well, that was later, but you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
300 years in stasis is
You
that's a
get what
new.
I'm saying.
I totally get what you're saying. That's a new level of hell that I wouldn't wish on anybody. No wonder Revan comes out of the stasis less than kind. But anyway, there's a report out there from MakingStarWars.net that Darth Vader will indeed be in Rogue One. This should come as to no surprise, as we've been saying it since our show debuted, that it made the most sense to have Vader in Rogue One to strengthen the movie for those that don't really know what it's about. Do you guys like or do you dislike?
Like,
Oh, I love it. I mean, I don't think you can have the movie without Vader.
I agree. Vader takes the whole stealing of the Death Star plans way too personally at the beginning of A New Hope to have had, someone sort of sneak away with them.
I've been saying this about Rogue One. I really would love the movie to end, or at some point feature, the Tantive 4 just at the end credits or something, some way.
It'd be pretty insane if the end of Rogue One was the beginning of A New Hope.
I don't know about, like, the beginning, like showing the whole thing, reshooting.
No,
the scene,
I just
but,
mean
like, the overshot of it.
yeah, all of a sudden you see the Tantive 4 come across, and then you see the Star Destroyer
Right.
shooting at it, and then the do 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 do. That'd be kind of nice storytelling.
After a zoom out, of course, but
yes, of course. Now we've started directing Rogue One ourselves, apparently. I apologize for the noise here in the background. The dog is begging for me to play with him. He hasn't seen me all day. So that was our Rogue One snippet for the day. Let's dive right into that Star Wars Rebels trailer. Guys, what'd you think?
Loved it. It was very powerful. Probably one of the best Star Wars trailers altogether I've ever seen.
Thomas?
Completely agreed. And even though the new episode is now, up, available, whatever, I haven't seen it yet, and that's actually probably
It was eh. It was eh. I mean, I liked Leia, but it was.
I'm gonna go watch that as soon as we're done here.
I wasn't impressed. I don't think this is a big spoiler, but I wasn't impressed how a lightsaber could apparently cut through AT-ATs like butter. Seemed a little bit unrealistic to me.
Mm.
Mr. Crayley and I got into a fight about that last night. Actually, no, today on the group about that. So, the trailer's amazing. I mean, my favorite parts. I love Darth Maul appearing again. Whoever would have thunk Darth Maul would still be alive just a few years before A New Hope.
It's not confirmed yet.
It's Maul. I mean, I think they would have had more probability to deny it if Witwer's voice didn't slip towards the end. The beginning sounds nothing like Witwer, but the last little bit of the lines totally sounds like Sam Witwer. And the diamonds on the nose is also a bit of a giveaway. That was a big part, but I think my favorite part is where Anakin is somehow speaking to Ahsoka. I'm guessing it's the Force giving Ahsoka a vision. Or maybe Vader is communicating as Anakin through the Force to her. And he says why did you leave? Which I thought was a pointless line, because, we all know why Ahsoka left. But the part that follows, do you know what I've become? And Ahsoka screams out, no. The emotion, like the hair on my arm stood up at that part. It was just, oh my God. And I'll say it right now, I think it's the best Star Wars trailer ever. Ever. Out of any of the movie trailers as well.
We haven't seen Ahsoka in that kind of emotional state in Rebels yet, so it will be interesting.
It might be the end of Ahsoka.
It might be, but I have a hope at least that there's going to be 2, maybe 3 conflicts. Saber, but
We're losing you a bit, Thomas.
I have the hope that we will see 2, maybe 3 Ahsoka and Vader conflicts. That's just
Yeah, I'd be okay with 2. I don't know if I'd be okay with 3,
yeah,
but
that might be too much.
I would be okay with 2 because it leaves the path for Ahsoka to then go seek out Obi-Wan on Tatooine. And because Ahsoka's working with the Organas, I think Bail would tell her, given the time. And I could totally see Ahsoka going to, confront Obi-Wan on Tatooine and, seek advice or help or whatever. And Obi-Wan not replying too well because, I mean, his main task is to look after Luke, and Ahsoka coming there could endanger it. And, I'm sure, the episode could be Obi-Wan giving Ahsoka bits and pieces of advice, but at the very end, he might just say, well, I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope you succeed in your goal. Don't ever come back here again, sort of deal. Because Obi-Wan's not getting off Tatooine. I'm telling you that right now. And I firmly believe any Obi-Wan spin-off film would almost be like a Western Obi-Wan on Tatooine. I don't think you'd see it anywhere else. I mean, you see other characters in the film leave Tatooine, but Obi-Wan I don't believe would be.
No, I think if you see Obi-Wan leave Tatooine, it almost kind of ruins part of the illusion of his condition in Episode 4.
That and his sacrifice to give up the rest of his life.
EU, so
he did leave Tatooine.
Yeah,
he didn't want to. He was totally against it, but he absolutely did. What's that novel series called again?
I don't remember, but I do remember he did some informal mentoring as well.
Yeah, of a almost like a character that's similar to the role Kanan plays.
Yeah, I agree.
So I mean, I could see them doing that. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the inspiration of Kanan came from that character. I can't even remember the character's name now, but I remember the series you're talking about. He goes and runs into Kenobi and convinces Kenobi to leave. He convinces Kenobi to leave the planet after so long. Obi-Wan really didn't want to, but Obi-Wan goes on a full-out adventure and then finally decides, he's had enough. It's time for him to return. And I believe the young Jedi goes and faces Darth Vader at the end, and it doesn't turn out too well for him.
If we were to get an Obi-Wan spin-off movie, I wouldn't mind a survey of his life, including bits that we've seen, but primarily things that we haven't seen. His training with Qui-Gon, how he first came into contact in the new canon, I guess you could say. How their relationship, master and apprentice, budded up to Qui-Gon's death and such. And this would all be foretold with Obi-Wan staring into a fire on Tatooine early to maybe 2 or 3 years to his self-imposed exile. Just my thoughts and opinions.
No, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. I'd be more inclined though for a Obi-Wan spin-off or a Obi-Wan standalone film on Tatooine, sort of shaped like Mad Max. Halfway between 3 and 4, where he still has some of his youth there. But I always thought, you'd see a Maul versus Obi-Wan fight, and Obi-Wan would put the end to him, similar to what happened in the EU. But with Maul still alive a couple years before New Hope, I would say the odds of that are slim to none now. Or maybe Maul bests Obi-Wan, and that's an explanation for why Obi-Wan is so, almost slow and crippled-like. And I know people say, well, he was on Tatooine for 19 years. Yeah, but he still looked like he went from being in his late 30s to his early 80s and not late 50s. So, something as small as, Maul knocks Obi-Wan off the edge of a cliff and Obi-Wan rolls down and breaks his back and whatever. I mean, that would be enough of, because he's not going to get it medically looked at. That'd be enough to slow him down. I mean, we're getting way off topic here. Thomas, how far are we into the show? Because we do have a 1 hour time limit on the free account.
We have 16 minutes and 27 seconds to go.
Well, we're coming to the end here anyway, but we have some... we're going to move on to the Outer Rim portion of the show, where we have a chance to talk about topics that weren't quite big enough for the HoloNet. And what it is Thomas, Mondo, and myself will pick out one topic each off this list to talk about. And if you want to learn more about the rest of the topics that we didn't talk about, stay tuned to our the future of Star Wars group that we have on Facebook. Here are your topic choices, everybody. You have Battlefront free DLC, Han Solo film to be delayed, the Obi-Wan comic, the Force Awakens visual effects special that came out yesterday. It's about a half an hour long. And Knights of the Fallen Empire Chapter 11 coming out next month. Mondo, we'll start with you.
I'm going to go with the content for Battlefront.
Okay.
I think it's amazing, and I think it's going to put to rest a lot of the negativity that game has got surrounding it about the lack of content. It also looks like they're going to be adding private matches to it, which has been a huge requested feature since the game launched. So very excited about that, and makes me even more excited to get some playing going.
Free map is definitely interesting, but the private matches is what caught me. The addition to real private matches is a huge plus.
I also want to point out, it looks like there's going to be some different costume looks. So
I almost feel like this is their sorry that we misled you about the Force Awakens being included in this game.
See, I don't think they care about that either which way. I think most of this has been in their plans all along. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm almost now 100% sold that we're not going to get Force Awakens content.
It'd be so easy to just put the characters into the current planets that exist.
Yeah, I think if we do get Force Awakens content, though, it's going to be toward the third or fourth expansion. Just because, man, and we've talked about it, and this is obviously enough conversation for an entire segment on the show, but just to stick with the original trilogy based on what they already have, to me that doesn't add up how they're going to come up with the extra content.
I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense how they're going to do 4 expansion packs with a rumored 4 maps per expansion pack. I don't get it. While staying canon on top of that, I don't get how that's supposed to work. But it's interesting. It's coming soon, and once again, my new place, it'll be fun to play it again with you guys for sure. And I believe Thomas has a Xbox One too with Battlefront. So
do not have Battlefront, but I am considering picking it up since it's already did that huge price drop.
Yeah, the huge price drop and the free DLC will make the game even better, and having a bunch of us in a private map together would be pretty cool too. Thomas, what topic do you want to choose off the list?
What were the options?
We will review the options here, and that is now you're down to Han Solo film might be delayed.
That's what I hadn't. I actually have not heard about this. What's going on with that?
Well, the reports, a couple of reports that have surfaced since Episode 8's been delayed, is Star Wars might be moving to strictly a December release system under Disney, which is cool. I mean, and if you're going to do that, that's cool. Although I still think we're going to get to a point in time where there's more than one Star Wars film in a year. They just won't be happening during the same timeline. Whether that's soon or 10 years from now, we will wait and see. But the current Han Solo film is scheduled for May 2018. This would indeed back it up to December 2018. What are your thoughts on this? And it would also back up Episode 9, which was projected as a May 2019 release. Instead, it would be a December 2019 release, almost 2020 for the love of God.
I personally don't mind thinking of December. Another thing to look forward to being, oh, that means we're getting a Star Wars movie soon. I really wouldn't mind that. I think what we need to think about first and foremost is this going to last further than 5 years or 6 years? And I'm sure we'll learn more as the movies sell and as we see what happens with Disney and their economic movements.
Well, Disney will keep up something. I mean, I know Mr. Gramillion of Geekspeak and the Empire the
Network.
Empire Network, pardon me, the Empire Network, is on the whole Disney stock fading, but really it has very little to do with Star Wars. Actually, it has nothing to do with Star Wars. Star Wars is projected by September 4th of next year, which will be a year since Forest Friday, to have brought in $9 to $10 million in profit via every revenue stream. That is
Well,
nuts.
the thing was,
Sorry,
the
9 to
thing
10
was,
billion. I might have just said 9 to 10 million. 9 to 10 billion.
the thing with stock price, this thing with stock prices is that there are so many things that dictate those. Especially with Disney, they've got theme parks, they've got movies, television shows, toys, different, so much other stuff. So, yeah, Star Wars probably plays a bit of a part into it, but there's so much more that goes into
10
it.
minutes, gentlemen.
Well, we're down to the final 10 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to touch on the Obi-Wan Kenobi comic. I have not read it yet, but I got a little bit of a preview of it. And it happens, looks like he's in his, looks like he's about 11 or 12 years old at this point. So you're 11 or 12 years into the exile then. And Obi-Wan does something a little uncharacteristic, is Obi-Wan gets Luke a ship to fly in Beggar's Canyon at that age because he wants Luke to know how to fly in case anything ever happens, and goes against Owen's wishes, and Owen Lars just loses it on him and blames Obi-Wan for Anakin's death, and tells him he doesn't want him around Luke, and it's a little bit of that backstory about that we see in A New Hope with a clear rift between Owen Lars and Obi-Wan. I won't be. I'll likely get it digitally. I doubt I'll pick it up in its physical form, but anything Obi-Wan I will take. That's it for the Outer Rim this week. We're moving on to the Trench Run. Plugs. We're behind on getting the rest of our shows up right now. It's a busy time personally for a bunch of us right now. We got various things going on. It just sucks the way it's come down, and Jake's been really busy getting extra shifts at work. But we can tell you that Wastelands will go up Friday, January 22nd, and sometime between now and the end of the weekend, you will see the Small Screen Temple, Hyperspace Gaming, and Cinema Chatter all go up as well. So we apologize for the delay on all of those fronts. Also, if you haven't voted on Division 1 of the Force Bowl yet, please do so. And you can do it at the Star Wars Wastelands Facebook page. You can do it at the Future of Star Wars group, and you can do it at the Club SWU group. Any one of those, and the votes will be tallied. We do have a fan question this week from Darth Tater, who's a personal friend of Rogue and myself. And her question is, who do you guys think would win a fight between Darth Revan and Kylo Ren? Thomas, I think you're a little more familiar with Knights of the Old Republic than Mondo, so we'll let you have at it first.
What was the question?
Who do you think would win a fight between Darth Revan and Kylo Ren?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought the question was Darth Vader or Kylo Ren. I was going to say, what does that have to do with Knights of the Old? Anyway, since we're on time, I certainly believe at this current point, Revan would win. I'm saying Revan. Revan.
Revan will win, Daddy.
I think we can see Kylo Ren develop more, and maybe then later on I'll be able to change my view, but at this current point in time, Revan, definitely.
Mondo?
I think at this point, I'm going to go with Kylo Ren because of his alter ego, Matt the radar technician. you would be able to infiltrate as an undercover boss. And no, in all seriousness, I think Revan would kick his ass in Kylo's current state. But it just makes sense, right? I mean,
I think Kylo is shaping to be a lot like Darth Revan was. But yeah, current state, Revan at his peak versus as good as we've seen Kylo so far. And I mean, I love Kylo, and I don't read into him whole losing the battle to Rey thing. He was internally bleeding out. The book even claims how bad of physical shape he was in at that point. He's literally dying at that point. But yeah, Revan would wipe the floor with him at his peak. Maybe not at Kylo's peak, but we don't know what Kylo's peak is. Anyways, that's all we have for you today on Star Wars Wastelands. Thanks to Thomas for hosting Take 2. It was a pleasure to have you on board.
Very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Mondo, thanks for joining us tonight. Was McMahon tough or medium rare or a bit chewy?
I'll be honest with you, very salty.
Very salty.
Salty.
Well, fake R.I.P. McMahon, the usual show host. Mondo has eaten him. No, we don't know where McMahon is, but we assume he's all right, and we'll be back with us next week. Don't forget, everybody, that you can like our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/SWWastelands. You can check out our Twitter, which is SWWasteland, or at SWWastelands. You can check out our Empire Network Twitter, which is the EMP, or at the EMP Network. Don't forget to vote on the Force Bowl. Stay tuned for next week's episode. May the Force be with you. Oh, and tell that to Conjure Club. Good night.